Legit. Okay, okay, okay. Little hangout session. Oh shit. Hangout session for like 10 minutes. Um, and then we will get into it. Oh, interesting. Cool, cool, cool. I am just setting stuff up, and we're gonna like take a look at everything when we're going. Let's Oh yeah. That's pretty smart. Yeah, yeah. Cakes. We could do some of that. I'll do it. Oh, I'll have that set up later too. Like, let's get a good idea. We can have music set up or whatever playing. Okay, we're gonna get into it here in a little bit. As always, gotta fix this stuff. Oh, never mind. That thing popped up immediately. We are good. Anyways, let me flip back. I hate that this lags. Oh wait a second. It's kind of laggy. It's all good though. Why does this look like that? That looks terrible. Let me see. Ah shit.
A court in Romania has ruled that
Cool. Let me get rid of this.
a court in Romania has
Technical difficulties. Boom, boom, boom. We're good. We good. What was this? Oh, we've got some achievements going on. Everything's going crazy in the world. I had this stuff set up, but it's hard to like super set it up. You know what I'm saying? You have to have the thumbnail ready. You have to have the banner ready, which I made as well. which I need to set up. It's because everything has to be set up on the computer. It's like I can set it up on mobile, like if I'm at the gym or something, but then it has to be set up on the computer too when I get back. And then when you're working, like if you have like a normal day job and then you're like actually trying to do full-time YouTube, that takes a lot of work to do that. BT dubs. Boom. And it's like that. All right, we're going to get into it here a little bit. Oh, this is a long one. Cool. Let's start this over. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to finish my drink here and then we'll start the video. Good stuff. Protein. Off of a fast, and we do right into the protein shake. You know how it is. I need to get my weight down. I'm like 240 still. Still kind of massive. I gained weight pretty well. Lame joke. I had no joke. There was no joke in there. I'm just talking. You thought it was funny, that's on you. Okay, we're all done. All right. Boom. Hey guys, Andrew Tate is at it again with him and his brother Tristan. I don't know, they keep getting arrested. They have a freaking, like there's a target on their back, obviously. Maybe if they stopped talking about their business wide openly and stopped being negative on the internet. And he keeps saying he's the most Google man, but this is what happens when you're the most Google man, right? And if you stop messing around with all these chicks and incorporating them into your business, and then, I don't know, maybe this won't happen anymore. But today, guys, we're going to be going over this video, and then we're going to hit the CNN article. Then we're going to check out how Andrew Tate faced himself, how he's going to claim innocence now with this next round of trial stuff that's going to be happening. Let's get into the video.
A court in Romania has ruled that a trial can start in the case of influencer Andrew Tate. He's charged with human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to sexually exploit women. Andrew Tate shot to internet fame, tallying millions of followers on X, formerly known as Twitter, due to his rants on male dominance and wealth. He was banned from various social media platforms for expressing misogynistic views and for hate speech. Romanian prosecutors allege he and his brother, Tristan Tate, misled victims by falsely claiming they wanted a relationship or marriage. The Tate brothers were arrested in December 2022, along with 2 Romanian women. Tate has repeatedly claimed that prosecutors have no evidence against him, and there is a political conspiracy to silence him.
I have not seen a single person stand up and say that I have hurt them, not one. It's very exhausting to continue to perpetuate lies. It's very hard to keep lies afloat when you have no actual evidence. He's trying to frame me, but God knows the truth. There's no evidence in my file because I've done nothing wrong.
While the Bucharest tribunal ruled that the prosecutor's case file against Tate met the legal criteria, a trial date was not set.
Cool. So they said the trial date was not set. They don't have enough stuff to go ahead and get him booked. It's hard because they keep arresting him, but then the fans are going to say that there's a straw man, like there's something else is up. You know, there's always a scapegoat. They can always move the goalposts even further, right? If like he does this and then he actually gets caught, then they can be like, oh, well, now Andrew Tate's, you know, the government's against him. Obviously, the government's targeting him. You know, the matrix is on his back, so you can't say that he's being targeted by the Matrix. So obviously he's correct in everything that he says. But then if he gets like arrested, and then they'll if they bring up proof, they'll be like, oh well, the Matrix, like, made up this proof or whatever. Tell me what you think about in the comments. We're gonna hit the CNN article and see what they say about all this. This is for the people that are too lazy to do it themselves. Let me fix this up a bit. Cool. The trial of Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed misogynist online influencer accused of human trafficking and rape, can go ahead and Romanian court said Friday. A Romanian court said Friday Tate was indicted in June along with his brother Tristan and 2 Romanian citizens on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming a criminal gang to exploit women. Allegations they have denied. The court in Bucharest, Romania's capital, has not yet confirmed a trial date, and the Tate brothers have already appealed the ruling. A spokeswoman for the brothers, yeah, this is the lawyer that they had before. Romanian prosecutors allege the Tate brothers seduced victims. Yeah, they said the lover boy method is what they did. Apparently, that's what they allege. Allegedly, right? Seduced victims by falsely claiming they wanted a relationship or marriage with them. And the Tate brothers' lead counsel claimed Friday's ruling lacks legal basis and reasoning. They've filed a strong appeal. They claim the decision is unlawful and without foundation. In March, a Romanian court approved the extradition of the Tate brothers to the UK. So this is a UK case, and they came back for it. So it seems like, because there was a Romanian case, but now the Romanian case has been dropped, and now the UK is picking it up. Because I remember there was something from the past that the Tate brothers had back in the UK, and then all of a sudden now that's spun up after the Romanian. They didn't have any legal standing or like proof or whatever to keep the case going in Romania. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Happily will be proven right or proven wrong. The Tate brothers, both formerly professional kickboxers, were first arrested in December 2022. It seems like they've been arrested forever. They're veterans of the prison system right now. And they were kept in police custody until April 2023 before being placed under house arrest. This talks about how they shot up to fame. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I don't understand how they're going to get... The UK is doing their case now after they've already been tried. Like, it seems like it's been forever that they were sitting in jail waiting. Everybody was kind of just waiting to see like what kind of proof was going to bubble up to the surface, right? Like, what is actually going to happen? Like, is our girls going to come like and be a witness against them? Like, are they going to have some type of testimony against the Tate brothers so that all the validity could go against these guys, like in terms of you did wrongdoing, right? Right now it seems like the Tate base, it seems like, because once you go online, like once you go to Reddit or whatever, then they have like a lot of fan base that's always, they're like, oh, they're the ones that are moving the goalposts, right? But then they get destroyed, so it's like both sides. So then now they're getting destroyed all the time, all online, and nobody has any clue. But then they're getting demonized no matter what. So as long as the accusations are put up there, then you're gonna get bashed with it, right? Until you're proven. It seems like in terms of the internet, it's always you're guilty before, and you have to prove yourself innocent, right? Instead of innocent, then until proven guilty. So it seems like it's a little bit backwards. But he did come out, said that they pretty much, that's what they told their business online, and that's what they're getting hit for. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. All right, guys. So that was the end of that video. We just talked about, or let me see. Yeah, anyways. Hey guys, we're back at it again. We have another Andrew Tate video. We're going to just look and see what kind of innocence that he had. He's going to be like pushing out. Like, what is he going to say? He's obviously going to say the claims are bogus and that the Matrix is after him. So we'll get to that and we'll see that, and then we'll see if we can break it down. We know that his fan base is going to be pushing the goalpost as always. And then we know that we haven't seen any victims come up. So his base in itself is going to be standing by waiting for like, where are the victims? Where are all these claims? Are these claims justified? And that's just where it's going to come. I mean, even just normal people standing on the sidelines are going to be saying that as well. We're looking for some type of good base, or if they don't come up with anything like they have this whole time, it is just going to look like the Matrix is coming after him, trying to make up these accusations and stuff, just trying to get them deplatformed and all that. Just like they did with kind of Russell Brand stuff. Maybe it's like they've been paid off on the back end, like silently under the table, but nothing has come about these situations to where it's seem like our society has come to a trend to where these powerful men are getting away with these type of actions. But right now it seems like just a bunch of accusations have been thrown out. Anyways, guys, let's get into the video.
If the Queen was still around, the OG, she wouldn't allow any of these fake photos, missing Kate Middleton, all this garbage going on. No. If somebody white stands in front of me and says they're black and they're being discriminated against because they're black, and their experience inside of the royal family, the most rich and famous family on the planet, is bad because they're black when they're not black, I'm going to sit here and say this is bullshit. Because it is. The LGBT flag gets more respect than Jesus Christ in most Christian countries now. I think Islam is the last true religion on earth. Well, I don't think I was supporting ISIS. I'm not trying to go back to jail anytime sooner than I have to, sir.
Do you think that Trump is also being, pursued by the Matrix?
Do I think? Sir, I know.
What are the 3 things which appear most frequently in your dreams or nightmares?
That's a very good question.
Hello and welcome. I'm Riz Khan. This is the second part of my interview with Andrew Tate, the hugely popular social media influencer who's facing charges of rape and human trafficking in Romania, charges that he and his brother Tristan both deny. I met Andrew Tate at his house near the Romanian capital, Bucharest, where the brothers are being detained as they await news of a trial date. What made you convert to Islam?
I think Islam is the last true religion on earth. I think a religion's job is to preserve the society which adheres to it. And I don't think Christian societies are being preserved by Christianity. I think that Christian societies have left in a massive power vacuum, and this power vacuum is being filled with, one, the beauty of Islam, and the other side, it's being filled with an insane worship for the government and leftist insanity and climate change and abortion and all these crazy things that people are worshiping. The LGBT flag gets more respect than Jesus Christ in most Christian countries now. And I feel like with that massive power vacuum, a lot of...
No, just say that's only because the people don't want to be offensive. You can't any sooner than he has to. How do you say that? Yeah, people just don't want to be offensive anymore. They want to be all inclusive. And now it's kind of cool to be, atheist or go against type of religion because you're going against like the old times. Now you're the new age and all that stuff. But I mean, also with the old times and there's a lot of values there. There's a lot of tradition there that keeps the majority of people in check or sane in an insane world, I would say is the best way to put that.
The evils and Satan's agendas are simply being inserted into public space and public life. And you need God to resist evil. And Islam seems to be the only religion left on earth which is capable of saying no to the evil agendas. So to sit and say, well, I'm a Christian, that's great. And you believe in Christianity, that's great. You live in a Christian country, that's great. But your society isn't preventing the children from being convinced to castrate themselves. Well, then you need to have a long, hard look at your own religion. And that's not my religion to comment on. But when I feel a strong affinity for God, and I think anybody who does.
But you see, that's only, we have the freedom to do that. Not that I'm saying it's right or wrong. This isn't like a political channel, but just in the point blank fact that we have the freedom to do that. And it's not like religion tied, it's not tied with religion or whatever. Like it's not a religious state. In Islam, like a lot of Arab countries are all religious states.
You're instantly and constantly drawn towards Islam because it's real.
I'm curious how so many fighters have become Muslims. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay the first one, Mike Tyson, and there's a whole list actually. Why do you think fighters become Muslims?
Because it's a warrior's mindset, Islam. Islam understands the brutal realities of life, and the brutal realities of life as a...
I would say there's more Christian fighters than there is Islamic fighters, though. There's not that many. Like, there's definitely more Christian fighters for sure. And like even talking about just in the like sports mindset as well, there's going to be more Christian. Christian's just a major religion.
As a man is constant and never-ending war. And I mean that for every man on earth. You're at war right now. If you're at home watching this, you're at war.
Well, that's the term jihad, but it usually means a self-struggle.
No, it's perfect. Even better, self-struggle. You nailed it. That's what I was about to say with war. Getting to your job and back without losing your temper in the commute is war. Taking care of your family is war. Raising your children despite the government propaganda being injected into their ear is war. Maintaining a healthy body and mind is constantly war. Paying your bills is war. Life as a man is war. And when you're truly a warrior in your heart and in your soul and in your actions, and you understand how important God is, you're going to end up believing in Islam. You're going to end up being a Muslim.
When it comes to religious tolerance, are you tolerant of other religions?
If you tolerate everything, then you stand for nothing.
I agree that tolerance is a strange word, but it's used widely to imply...
It's a hijack. Tolerance is a hijacked word. So tolerance in and of itself...
Let me go back to that other war comment. I just looked it up, the definition. So war is like a state of armed conflict, right? I wouldn't say he was like naming minute tasks and everything that need to be done, taking care of your kids, taking care of bills, driving to work, making sure you're performing well on your job. I wouldn't say that that's like a conflict more so than just something that needs to be done, something that needs to be executed, and hopefully you can execute it well. I definitely wouldn't say that's a war. You're not conflicted to do that stuff unless you just immediately dislike your job. Then you're fighting, you're struggling to complete that. That's why it's better to just do stuff that you like. Try to gravitate towards stuff that you like so that you can have a more productive lifestyle, because you're just going to be more productive anyways if you're doing stuff that you already enjoy doing. And I know that's not a goal, not necessarily a goal, but I know that's not possible for a lot of people. They're just trying to survive and then work. So maybe just in terms of the working and stuff, but then dealing with your kids and then just commuting sometimes. But I definitely wouldn't say that that's war within yourself. There's definitely other stuff that are in people's personal lives that could be defined as a war within themselves, but not the minute task as he was listening.
Just like we talked earlier about gender equality, is a hijacked word that the Matrix has hijacked and taken a nice pretty word and they've hijacked it. Because when they say you must be tolerant, what they're saying is move out your house, give it up to asylum seekers, allow your son to chop his balls off. That's what they're telling you to do. So tolerant is hijacked. However, my brother's a Christian. I live with a Christian. It's not my job to be an Islamic scholar. I don't know enough. I'm a revert. It's not my job to go through and tell other people about their own religion. It's not my job to insult other religions. I can only say why I stopped being a Christian, because I lost faith in the religion as a whole. That's my personal preference. That's all I can do. I'm tolerant of other religions. In fact, I think we need more God in the world, not less. I'm tolerant of religions. If I meet an atheist, perhaps I might look at him strange. Perhaps
you were for a while.
Well, yes, exactly. But perhaps I wouldn't do business with atheists anymore. Perhaps if someone sat and said, I'm an atheist, I would lose respect for them. I'll admit that.
Oh yeah, but put that in the perspective of other people though. Like, so say somebody, it would sound really bad if somebody was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do business with Islam people anymore, or I'm not gonna do business with Christian people anymore. And it's like, what? Like, do business with everybody, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Literally the basis of the majority of religions. And like, dude, It sounds bigoted when it comes from like, yeah, if you're atheist, I'm sure I'm not gonna do business with you, no connections with you, I'm not gonna break bread with you or anything like that. I'm not gonna be your friend. You don't believe in nothing. Get out of here.
Openly on camera. But if someone were to sit and say, I'm a Christian, I'd say, okay, that's fine. Beautiful. You believe in God, I believe in God. The world needs more God. And I think that's very important. But this tolerant word we have to be careful with. We have to be very careful with this word.
I agree. It's accepting, I think, is a better word than tolerance, because tolerance implies putting up with something.
But the reason it's so important to be careful with this word is because one of the core tenets of being a man is intolerance. If you're a man, you're intolerant. You have principles, and principles can't be broken, which makes you intolerant. You have duty, which means you can't have your actions changed or psyoped out of you, which makes you intolerant. You have land you're supposed to protect. You have your people you're supposed to protect, your family. You don't want strangers turning up in your house. You're intolerant of random guests at 3 a.m. If you're half good as a man, you're intolerant of a lot of things. So I would never sit here and call myself a tolerant man, because that makes me a walkover, and I'm certainly not a walkover. I am tolerant, sure, but not in this hijacked sense of the word where I'm going to allow myself and my people and those I care about to be decimated by the insane agents of Satan.
Yeah, I would just say it's tolerant to the point to where you're not being ran over, but you're also not going to sit there and abuse somebody because of your values specifically, I would say. So there's a balance that you have to play with that, right? You can still be tolerant of other people's beliefs and, their values and how they view themselves and all those things, and still not get trampled over by society. You could pull that off. If you're a real man, right? You should be able to pull something off like that.
Andrew, interesting you say you're a revert, not a convert.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we all start as Muslims, is my understanding of it. Like I said, I'm not an Islamic scholar, but I think what I found most amazing about my reversion, to be honest with you, is how similar it was to Christianity. It's really not as far away as people believe it is. And I feel like, especially in the Western world, especially in America.
But it's kind of like disingenuous, because you're saying that he's a revert, but then you were just atheist though. So how are you? So now you're a Christian, you're atheist, and now you're a revert back to a Muslim? Like, what, bro? You're everywhere in this bitch.
Because I'm American. The white Christians see it as this faraway religion from a faraway place, and it's very, very different. Not understanding that Christianity and Islam were born from the same period of same place on earth.
Same place.
Right? And we respect and we respect and worship a lot of the same people. And it's a beautiful thing. So we all start as Muslims, is my understanding. And like I said, I'm very careful how I talked about these subjects, because there's people more intelligent than me. But it's closer to Christianity than I thought, which is also quite refreshing.
Are you ritualistic? I mean, do you pray 5 times a day? Is it something important to you? I'm not judging.
Sometimes I will pray 5 times in a day. I won't always manage to pray 5 times in a day. It's important.
Yeah, tell me down in the comments. Is that like something? Is that a Muslim thing? I'm obviously not Muslim, so I don't know. But if you are, put down in the comments. Are you guys supposed to, like, is it looked bad upon if you do not pray 5 times a day, type of deal? That's interesting. That's a lot of dedication, I would say, which is good. Dedication and showing consistency is a good value to have. But I'm going to be interested to know, because he's not like a super, super devout Muslim, obviously. But he's trying. So he's trying to put some God. As he said, more God is better than nothing, right? So as he says.
Important to me, yes. I think it gives me a lot of mental clarity. I think it's a nice thing to do. I think if you don't have time in your day or you can't make time in your day for God, then what are you making time in your day for? What's more important than that?
Let's bring current affairs back into it.
I'll just say devil's advocate. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm not making time for my day for God, I'm just making time for my family, like work, benefiting other people in my life, volunteering, actually directly helping other people. There's a lot of things that you could inject into there, and you'd be valid.
Especially regarding Islam, because ISIS, of course, has a particular reputation globally. On ISIS, you said ISIS are the real Muslims because ISIS do exactly what the book says. Now, you got pretty harsh here, saying kill everyone who's not a Muslim and chop people's heads off and set them on fire and raging lunatics and all this. I mean, do you still hold this belief, or was it merely rhetoric for?
No. So when I was an atheist and I was giving my political commentary, I did say that. Of course, because this is a media interview, we are showing half of the clip. We're not telling the whole clip, because I also said the same thing about Christians. I also said that the Old Testament says, put to death anyone who does not work, who works on a Sunday. If you work on a Sunday, you should be put to death. Old Testament says it, Christians. And my point about the whole video was that when you believe in a religion, if you follow the book word for word, you can't exist in society. Christians can't kill everyone who works on a Sunday, even though the Old Testament tells them to. And if you try and do exactly as the book says word for word, well, then you're going to end up being seen as an extremist of some kind. I don't remember exactly what I said in that video, but I remember my overarching point. It wasn't anti-Islamic. It was how religious texts have to be watered down a bit for you to live a life. And Muslims understand that. Most Muslims, most Christians understand that there's a version of the religious text that they can't exactly adhere to. And then I was talking actually about how this eventually ends in the religion having no power at all, because I was talking about Christianity, saying that, well, if you ignore the first part of the Bible, then you ignore the second part, you ignore the third part, in the end you ignore all of it.
But you need to be picking different parts in order to appropriately live in society, though. Like, obviously, as you just said, you're not going to go out and then execute everything that's directly in the Bible. Same thing with the Quran, right? You're not going to, if you're like Muslim, then you're not going to be going out and do that, because you cannot fit into a modern day society like that. And that's been like that way for hundreds of years. You got to pick and choose, but the majority of values that are being taught in the church will still stand, though. Not the obviously extremist part. And then the people that are doing the extreme parts will be called extremists, as they should be, because you're on the extreme scale of your faith and you're actually executing everything how it's supposed to be executed. That would then make you an extremist. So it's not like a derogatory term.
You say you're a Christian, you have no beliefs, etc., etc., etc. So yes, I said it.
Yeah, you were saying actually you were actually supporting ISIS in its views in that one.
Well, I don't think I was supporting ISIS. I'm not trying to go back to jail anytime sooner than I have to, sir. I have to be very careful. I do not support ISIS. I do not think that innocent people dying under any circumstances is ever something that I would adhere to or I would support. It's not who I am as a person. I don't like that whole premise. Also, and I'll be very honest, I don't understand the true Islamic beliefs of ISIS. I haven't spoke to an ISIS leader or member. I don't know how he interprets the Quran different than I would.
I'm assuming they just take the Quran like literally. I mean, that's what Quran has some dicey stuff in it. I know that for sure. It's very direct. And I'm pretty sure they just take it literally and maybe a step a little bit farther to prove how loyal they are. Tell me down in the comments what you think.
But I don't know. So I can't comment on ISIS.
Now, in the case of the Israel-Gaza situation, you're accused of Israel of genociding Palestinians, and I've seen the interviews where you've been asked to condemn Hamas, and you've kind of skirted around the issue a lot. Wouldn't it be okay to condemn both sides for what's happening?
I'm a realist.
I remember that's what Piers Morgan was trying to get people to do that at the same time too, like trying to condemn, like, hey, do you condemn both sides? It was really hard to get somebody to condemn both sides. If they were coming in to speak for Israel, then they're speaking for Israel. They're not going to condemn what the Israelis are doing. But if they're coming in to speak for the Palestinian people, then they're kind of iffy on condemning Hamas and stuff. It's like, you cannot get a clear cut. Do you condemn like both sides, or as some people, even though it's like blatantly obvious that there's two completely different sides of the story, and people are gonna have their differences, and maybe some people have done some bad things on both sides, but nobody's gonna say that. No, not even something as simple as that. They're not gonna give that up by any means.
But I'm also very careful, because I understand in many countries, saying certain things about Hamas puts you in jail. So let's not talk about Israel, Gaza. Let's talk about a fantasy land. The purple people.
Dang, even Tate, like Andrew Tate's not gonna say anything at all either. He's trying to be as careful as possible, which makes sense. Just a chess move. Just don't say anything. Try to avoid the subject, but then talk about something related to that you can still get your point across.
People against the blue people. I believe that it's inside of every single heart of every single person to resist and struggle against oppression. I believe that God especially made men, masculine men, since the dawn of time. All of our great stories and all of our history, all of our heroes were men who fought against oppression and oppressive forces and enemy forces. You want to talk about Winston Churchill? You want to talk about Napoleon? You talk about any of the Western world? You talk about Nelson? All of our heroes, the ones that are on the statues, are the men who stood up and said, enough. So in the purple versus blue people, perhaps the purple people would be oppressing the blue people for a very long time, stealing their land, and the blue people were eventually to stand up and say, enough is enough of this. We are tired and we're prepared to die to stand up for what we believe in, because we have duty and we have honor. It would be extremely asinine for anyone to sit here and say, no, you could just oppress people forever and they'll never resist. And if they resist, they're the bad guys. I also think that perhaps in this imaginary world, let's imagine there was videos coming out and you could truly see who was murdering babies and who wasn't. I think it'd be pretty clear for anyone with a functioning brain to understand what's going on. It's insane to sit and think that men should not have any kind of resistance inside of their hearts against deliberate and constant endless oppression. That's insane. And to sit here and say that's okay, once again, is insane. And to sit here and condemn both sides. No, I'm not going to condemn the masculine spirit of resistance. I'm not going to do that because that's disingenuous.
You know, Andrew, it's interesting the comments you make about where men should stand in society.
See, right there, he didn't. So they're shifting points entirely right now, but he didn't condemn. Obviously, he's talking about the Palestinian people and like how they're being oppressed and all that. But he didn't say anything about the Israeli side, though. So he said, like, obviously, pretty much without the red and blue, you guys heard it too. We're just sitting there talking, we're enjoying the conversation together. But he's just like, yeah, I don't blame the Palestinians for coming back. That's what he's saying. But he couldn't just say that directly, of course. But he still didn't give any credence to the Israeli side of everything.
And the kind of empowerment they should have or have. It sounds very Darwinian, survival of the fittest. Do you adhere to that idea that it's about it's about survival of the fittest?
Yes.
So it also means that if a woman is physically stronger than a particular man, she's got the edge on him.
Well, of course. I mean, we can sit here and talk about exceptions disproving the rule all day long. No, we can.
You're right,
we can.
you're right,
you know,
you're
right?
right.
You know, there's some people who can swim faster than a fish, and we humans are faster swimmers than fish because there's one swimmer which is faster than this one kind of fish. Let's talk about this all day. Is life survival of the fittest? It always has been. It always has been.
And
it's the same for it always has been, and it's the same for ideas. It's the same for ideas right now. We just talked about religion. A lot of people in the West are upset that Islam is conquering the Western world. That's not Islam's fault. That's Christianity's fault.
Yeah, as Yaya Cake said, he doesn't blame the blue side. Did he really get it? Yeah, man. He got picked up like a couple of days ago.
You've left a power vacuum. You don't allow people to worship God and feel respected in any way. So it's being filled by a religion where people can worship God and have their views respected. That is Christianity's problem. And for us to sit here and say, do I believe the world is survival of the fittest? I would like you to name a time in human history, since the dawn of human history, where it's never been survival of the fittest. I ask you, sir, a question, my first one. Has it ever not been?
The reason I asked you that question is because I wonder how you draw on that for possibly explaining colonialism. The stronger nation takes the weaker one, or even what's happening in Gaza with Israelis, of course, being the stronger nation physically, militarily. Isn't that also survival of the fittest?
Well, it's interesting that firstly you didn't answer my question.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I know. I do agree. My background's science, so I do agree. But I tend to keep myself out of the interview if I can. But I'm asking you because I thought about this. Thinking about Darwinism, you could talk about colonialism that way. You could talk about anything that's happening now. The guy who has the muscle and the power can do it.
And that's the way the world is. Yeah. And before I comment particularly on that exact subject, that's exactly the way the world is right now. But you have powerful versus weak. But let's not confuse that with right and wrong. They can be very different things. I'm an innocent man who's done nothing wrong. But when 50 men with machine guns come here to my house and drag me out of my house, they're powerful, I'm weak, I have to go to jail. Even though I'm innocent, right? So let's not conflate the two issues. We can talk about the fact that colonialism has been purported by or perpetuated by extremely powerful countries, which would come, all of Europe chopped up Africa. They'd come, they'd take all the natural resource, they'd enslave the populace. They were more powerful, they had gunpowder, they had more organized armies, and they did all of this because they were powerful and they were weak. There was a power vacuum, just as we discussed with religion and ideas, and they took control. That doesn't mean it was right. That doesn't mean the people who were being subjugated were...
Of course, because as soon as you start taking over somebody's land because you have more power, it's obviously somebody's going to say that it's not right. But then if your people are suffering or whatever, and you're just like, you need more land, right? Kind of like how China and Taiwan's going right now. Like, oh, that's our land. We already owned that land before. Or, you can pull that with Russia and Ukraine. Like, that was already part of the Soviet Union before. So it's wrong for you to be defending that land that we already took. Now you're in the wrong. And we're going to use our power to correct that type of deal. So there's a different dynamic. And then, like, the way media, that's why media is so powerful in itself, because how you're spinning that dynamic and can provoke different people and different motivations and change the course of history, even though the winner always writes the history books anyways, right?
Who deserved it. We can talk about good and bad, and we could talk about evil, and we could talk about righteousness, and then we could talk about the life we live here on earth and power structures. They're actually not very related. So I understand what you're saying, but these are different conversations, sir.
You discussed Donald Trump becoming president again in 2024, and you said, yeah, we all want Trump to...
I kind of hate it when they like immediately go off of what they were talking about, and he just, I mean, granted, he's trying to do an interview, he's trying to be concise and then like save as much time as possible and get his questions that he wants to get to in the appropriate amount of time. But when they just like clear cut go off to another one after Andrew Tate has like deflected his questions, and I want to hear what the interviewer's response is, but then they just go like, okay, next question. I'm like, dude, come on, give me a good response so I can see. I like the back and forth.
Win. That'll be amazing for the culture. And some say it's...
The rich exile says the rich gets richer has always existed. What they were just talking about was a power weak versus strong and right versus wrong dynamic. They didn't talk anything about like money wise, because that dynamic's always existed. And then that could go with fiscally as well. That can go with fiscally. And then Yaya Kick says it's wrong to oppress the powerful, but no one cares about oppression of small people. Yeah, you can agree. But no. I don't know. Because it's always a trope that everybody always roots for the little guy. So I would say, and we can see that in our situations right now, in terms of our American view. We're American. I'm American, right? So I don't know what Exile or anybody in the chat is. But from an American point of view, like we're going for Ukraine, right? We're going for Taiwan, right? We always go for the little guy in these situations because we're competing with the major powers. So it's always, you can see it in every movie anywhere. You're going for the little guy. You never go for the big guy. So I would disagree with the Yaya Cakes. I think it's popular to go against the powerful people. Nobody wants to see them win.
It's just kind of another multimillionaire with this, big voice.
Billionaire.
You're billionaire. Okay, so, well, though you refused Forbes' assessment.
Oh, Exiles, yeah, from the U.S. too. Hey, there you go. Comes from the money. Yeah, always comes from the money, man. Yeah, by the big guys. Yeah, true. Yeah, Kicks has.
Is that correct?
I'm not going to tell Forbes all the money I've got. They'll send it right to DCOM. They'll send it straight to the police.
All right, so let's say another multi-billionaire with a big voice and big platform facing a lot of legal challenges at the moment. Do you think that Trump is also being, pursued by the Matrix?
Do I think? Sir, I know. Everyone knows. The charges against him are complete garbage. The cases against him are complete garbage. And they're doing it to try and stop him getting in power because they don't want him to be president, because they'd rather have a president who doesn't know what's going on.
I don't know. I saw a lot of reports in terms of Trump, right? Like, obviously this is a political channel, but like a lot of the reports are saying like the more trials that Trump goes to, the stronger his base becomes anyways. Because it's like, oh, you're just this poor innocent ex-president. You're just going to keep piling on him. And it's true. Like the more shit that they give him, they better convict him with some good stuff, because otherwise it's going to be the same situation with Andrew Tate. Like, if you guys want to keep putting these guys in jail, you want to keep dragging them through courts and stuff, the evidence better be good, or their base is going to come back even stronger, and they're going to say, like, the sentiment of the public is not going to be swayed anymore. It's going to make all these stories seem ridiculous, and you're taking away from real victims. So they better have real stuff to go against these guys when they take them to court. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. If you do not have anything to put him away, like any actual good evidence, and you can nail down these charges, then Trump's base is just going to become even stronger in the long run. You cannot go and do this fake stuff where you're taking people to court and you don't have anything to nail stuff down. It's going to make you look ridiculous. It's going to make the whole system look ridiculous. And that's just the wrong thing to do. It's going to strengthen his base even more. So I highly doubt that that's like a major Matrix target against Trump, because if it is, it's definitely not working. It'd be better to just give him less publicity, less attention. Not saying like he gets away with it. If there's crimes that are being committed, then yeah, pin him against it. If it's like a witch hunt or whatever he says, that they can't pin the actual charges against him, then it's going to look ridiculous.
So they can just tell his advisor, here's X amount of million, pass this law. That's what they want. The shadow figures want to control the world, and they don't want to have an employee, which is what they'd see him as, just as I described in my imaginary company earlier, who's belligerent. They don't want to have somebody in charge who you can't buy or bribe or blackmail or scare. Trump is going to sit there and say, I have enough money, I'm too old to want more, and I care about my country, I'm going to do what's right for the country. I'm not going to do what's right for you, the big interests and the big money and the globalists. And that's why they're trying to take him down. It's absolutely and utterly, completely a matrix attack. And when I say it's important for the culture, because it is, because Trump is a masculine man in a world where being masculine is instantly bad for some reason. And it will be massively important for the culture, just as I've been a cultural icon, so is he. And so will he help push the culture in the positive direction of healthy masculinity. So it's extremely important for the culture, and also it will slow the rot. I don't believe it.
I don't know about healthy masculinity. I mean, he's going to trial for paying off, like for using the campaign funds for the porn star, even though he was married already. I wouldn't say like he's setting like the moral goal, but he's definitely an icon for sure. But I definitely wouldn't say like it's healthy. He's definitely an icon. I'll give him that.
It can stop. Truthfully, I don't believe he can stop the rot of Western nations, but he can slow it down, which has to be a good thing. Let's delay the sinking of the Titanic for 4 more years. Why not? And who's his serious competition? Who's going to run against Trump? Name someone competent running against Trump.
Do you feel, with what's going on with the royals, you grew up in Britain, in Luton, and as you described in poverty.
There's that switch again that I was talking about.
Rich family.
He's not going to answer the question. But
I don't know, but how?
I would say Vivek was a good one, but he's Indian, so he probably didn't get that much. He didn't get that much play. But Vivek would, if Vivek and Trump were, hey, that'd been a good treat. That's like a good one right there. Vivek Ramaswamy and Trump, that's a good one. That's a good. I just like Vivek, I think.
How did your family regard the royals at that time?
I miss the Queen. I miss the Queen. She wouldn't allow any of this junk to happen. If the Queen was still around, the OG, she wouldn't allow any of these fake photos, missing Kate Middleton, all this garbage going on. No, she would have got it all under control, went to Kate, made sure she was okay, went in front of the news, did an interview, fixed it. I feel like the royal family died when the Queen died.
What?
I don't know why I've come to that assessment, but I have.
Are you saying the king can't handle business up there? I mean, they all seemingly have like health problems popping up though. So maybe they can't handle business. But I mean, let's not, they know that they have underlings that are still in place. The Queen's staff, same thing with the president, how the Congress is in place, they're making the moves. They're not going to have freaking, like the royalty has parliament, I believe. That's their Congress. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong as well. But they're in place. So it's not like the decision tree that was happening anyways, like the structure of how the policies were written and have been executed in the UK are really that different.
And it's very sad to me because although we can talk about the royal family being part of the elites and being part of the matrix and the Rothschilds and the banking sectors, we talk about all these things, but I think the world is going in the direction it's going because it lacks tradition. I think especially Western nations are becoming so flawed as a whole because they're lacking a culture and a tradition. And I think anything that's cultural or traditional, we should try and hold on to, especially in Western countries, because in other countries they do, but in Western countries they don't. And when she died, I was very upset because I knew that respect and interest in the royal family was going to decline instantly and massively. And as usual, I was absolutely correct.
You've commented on Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, saying she is not black. And I wonder, as a man of mixed race yourself, how you regard that.
Yeah, dude, Meghan Markle's mixed. What are you talking about? Obviously, she's not going to claim she's full black, but even they're doing the 1 drop rule. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. So she's saying she's going by the 1 drop rule, and she said she's black.
Kind of
she's not black
statement. Well, then if that was said about,
and then like what's saying like what is black? You know what I'm saying? So people will be like, oh yeah, you're not black, whatever. Like, what does that really mean though? Like, okay, cool.
How would you relate to that?
Well, it's fine. I'm mixed race. I mean, she's lighter than me. I mean, it's just, I'm not gonna.
So is it like a skin color thing? Because there's a lot of light skinned people that are just straight black too. So it's like, what's he going off of?
I just find it amazing that we have a person who is so light-skinned crying about the fact that she was attacked for being black. And there's black people, genuinely black people, standing on the news saying, yeah, that's true.
Dude, there's a shitload of people like destroying her for being black. Especially in the UK. She was getting handled for being black. They don't want any of that. She's mixed and she's light-skinned. They don't care. You think they care, bro? She's getting handled for being black. And it's even worse when it's like subtle too, because then it's like, hey, just tell me. I'd rather some racist person just be like, tell me they don't like black people. They do like that shit subtly and like behind your back. Like when you're, because it's royalty, so you got to keep up appearances as well. But she's experienced it. You see it. I remember seeing all those articles where people were just destroying her for being black. And even myself, I was like, she's mixed. You can't even tell she's black. God, we don't even know what race this lady is. And she was definitely getting the brunt of that.
She had a tan, Italian maybe. I mean, she had a tan. She was in the sun. That's fine. But to sit here and pretend that she's African, like she's from Sudan, is it objective?
Yeah. Cake says it's not the being treated like a dark-skinned black person. She was treated probably. It's because like she thinks that she's probably blindsided because she's like, oh nope, they're not gonna treat me. Honestly, it'd probably be better if she was dark-skinned. If she'd have better treatment if she was dark-skinned, because it's like a clear, definitive, instead of it being all wishy-washy. It's like, nah, I'm up in here. Can you imagine that? Imagine somebody with some freaking some womanhood in there. The freaking the castle. There you go. It might have been better.
Objective lie. But here's the thing that's so crazy about the world. It's an objective lie. She is not black. Everyone can see she's not black. But saying that, everyone's scared to say it. Everyone thinks it, right? It's because, well, good job the Matrix has done on us all. Everybody at home looks at her and goes, that's not a black person. That's a mixed race person or an Italian person or a Portuguese.
Dude, people are not that accepting. He was talking about all this acceptance stuff. People are not that accepting. They sit there and like try to, nah. You think they did that with Obama? There's a good example. They didn't do that with Obama. Sit there and be like, nah, he's a mixed race guy. He's not a black guy. What the fuck? Did you guys? What? Get out of here. You think that people did that with Obama? Nothing to do with Meghan Markle, especially in the UK. Get out of here, bro.
Portuguese woman, maybe. But we're not allowed to say it. Oh, if you say it, because they got everybody scared to talk. And that's what they want. I'm a mixed race person, which is actually quite interesting. I want to make one more point.
Yeah, you're filling out your test sheet. You can't put, I'm a mixed race person. Nah, that shit says, European, African, American, Hispanic. You have to put white with Hispanic descent.
Usually when you reach my level, when you get hit with the Matrix attack is always a weaponized virtue, right? So they find something virtuous, like loving women or protecting women, and they weaponize it, misogyny, and they attack you with it. So it's always weaponized virtue. Typically, at my status, you get attacked with racism. It's the most common weaponized virtue they attack you with. Yeah. Because I'm mixed race, from America, from England, 2 different races, living in Romania, I'm all over the place. They can't really use racism on me. So they haven't tried to make that one stick. So it's one of their weapons bounces off of me, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I'm not a racist for saying I have 2 sides of my family. One side's white, Irish, as white as you get. One side's black. I can say, that's my black family. This is my white family.
I like how he doesn't differentiate. That's because we as black people don't have like our culture straight. We don't really know where we're from. Like if you're actually brought over by like his dad was an Air Force guy, so he has to be like he didn't say like white. His mom was white, and then his dad was Jamaican, or his dad was Nigerian, or something like that. Nah, he has to just be like my mom was Irish. He knows exactly where she's from, the exact country, and then my dad's black. So some type of it just goes off of skin color too. It's like, dude.
That doesn't make me racist. You're a black person, you're a white person. It doesn't make me racist. It's not offensive. I'm not saying one's better than the other at all. I don't see the offense in this. And this is normal. And once again, they've somehow psyoped the population to saying it's wrong to say somebody's skin color. If somebody white stands in front of me and says they're black and they're being discriminated against because they're black, and their experience inside of the royal family, the most...
A lady has done that though. They're good with the makeup. She's like, I'm black.
Rich and famous family on the planet is bad because they're black when they're not black. I'm going to sit here and say this is bullshit. Because it is.
I'm going to pause for a second because we lost the light there for a second. Yeah, but it's okay, it's back. The sun went in. As you said, I'm not, racist. You suddenly went dark, which I thought was very ironic.
Perfect point.
Yeah, I wonder how people are going to respond to that. We're good? We keep going. All right. I'm interested how the artificial intelligence, AI, will fit into what's happening with what you describe as the matrix. I mean, I know you commented, you said the rich-poor divide will continue to increase. The average man is becoming obsolete. I'm warning
Sure,
you,
sure,
you
sure,
said.
sure.
It's no longer enough to be an average guy. The average man's life.
I mean, but anybody could say that with any type of age that we've moved into and how it's going to replace jobs and stuff and replace the average worker when all it did was transform the jobs. Like all the IT guys moved, or, like when new machines come out that put in like for the industrial line, all that stuff. And then your jobs just switched over. They transitioned. The jobs will always be there. Even if you're having we see it now, even with AI, granted, like direct writing, like say writing jobs have gone away, but now there's prompt engineers now. It is just shifted to another job, which makes the business in itself more productive. So as long as you can stay with that transition, you'll be fine. It's just their jobs will always be there. You're going to have to transition to a better title, or you're going to have to go into school. If you've been on the lower levels of that type of industry, all AI is going to do is remove the lower levels of that work. The management and the higher skilled positions will still be there, or they will be converted into something else. Tell me what you think down in the comments.
Life is only going to get worse. You need to become great.
Yep.
Isn't that easier said than done for most people?
Yes, as the Exile says, always evolving, man. Always changing, always learning. Always keeping up with it, man. You will get left behind. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely. It's absolutely easier said than done, because to become great means you have to be exceptional, which means that even as the average improves, as the medium or mean improves, it becomes harder and harder to become exceptional. Yes, that doesn't mean it's not true. I'm not here to give everybody happy lies. I'm not going to be like the Matrix and give everyone comfortable, happy lies, because that's what they do. They sit and say, don't worry, just go to school and work hard in school. Don't worry, just go to college and work hard in college. Don't worry, just get in university debt. Don't worry, just get a career. Then
yeah, and if you guys aren't a part of the large stream, the live streams at this video is going to go up. So live streams at Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 p.m. But Yaya Cakes is they're arguing, Exile and Yaya Cakes talking about royalty. I would have chosen royalty, screw fame. Royalty comes with fame. If you're a royal, then you're gonna be famous. It just comes with the territory. Yeah, always evolving. They choose to leave. So Yaya Cake says no, the royal family, they chose to leave and then were stripped of titles. Why did they choose to leave? You gotta ask that initial question first. The royal family, Harry and Meghan, they chose to leave. Why did they choose to leave? Let's get to the root of the problem, right? You can't just state that, right? Oh, is it for Hollywood? It wasn't because of the treatment whatsoever? They just had great treatment in their palace. Mind you, their kids weren't even chosen. They got skipped over. Let's see, why is that? Why did they get skipped over? If I get skipped over, of course, I'm going to feel some type of way, and then I'm going to leave for bigger and better things, because obviously my family's not going to take care of me. So, I don't know. We just got to ask the root problems of the question. Let's get into it.
get a mortgage, pay your mortgage, pay off your student loans. Don't worry, when you're 68, you might be able to go on holiday. Don't worry. Take your injections, take 9, or you lose your job. Then you lose your house, then you lose your family, then you lose everything. Don't talk out of line. Don't write on Facebook or you lose your job. You have student debts to pay. Be quiet, be good. Happy lives, you'll have a good life. No, that's all a lie and it's all garbage. I'm not going to sit here and give sugar-coated lies. AI is going to make the average person absolutely obsolete. That is a fact. It's going to become harder and harder for anybody to have any significance in the world today unless they're an exceptional person.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, right? As we just said, you need to continue evolving. You need to continue making yourself better. Otherwise, you will get left behind in this fast-paced world. That is how it is. I wouldn't say the world in itself has changed because you've always needed to adapt anyways. Like, you couldn't do the same stuff that your parents were doing. Even people were complaining about that now, even as millennials or as Gen Z. And Gen Alpha is going to have it. The Gen Alpha is going to be the one that's running into the AI stuff. Not Gen Z, I don't think. Millennials, we're kind of like on the top end of everything. So we're in that transition where, yeah, maybe we need to make some changes, but we're already management though. Millennials are already management. If you've been working, you're already management. And the boomers are already starting to roll out. They're getting kicked out. Gen Alpha's going to be running to the brunt of the actual AI problem. Because AI is still very fumbly right now. A lot of technology isn't there yet. But in about five years to a decade, it's going to be there for sure. And so just keep your jobs, keep going, keep that resume building.
That is a fact. That is hard for most people to do. True. but you better find a way to pull it off, because once you...
Yeah, exactly. As Exile says, Blahzaye for the, yeah, exactly. The good jobs. It's uncomfortable, but the harder decision is usually the right thing to do. And you want it to be hard, right? If it was easy, you wouldn't want it anyways.
You become a useless eater, once you become somebody who needs food and is no use to the people who make the food, you're going to soon learn that throughout all of human history, it ended the same way for those type of people.
So you do see AI as dangerous. I wonder how quickly you think this impact is going to take place.
30 years max, 20 years, maybe by 2030. I see AI as dangerous because it's in the hands of government. What do governments always want? More of control. Now they're going to get the ability to get more control. So they're going to use it. And it's going to get to a point where you can't go out your house without getting scanned by some camera with the QR code stamped on your forehead. And if you've ever written anything on Facebook...
I've seen a lot of... There's some Asian countries that have averted this as well. They have like the mask, and then there's glasses that stop the camera scanning and all that stuff. So as soon as something like that comes out, the public already has a means to defeat it. It's a, cat and mouse game, as always has been. Same thing with tracking. YouTube wants to try to throw ads on your video. You put an ad blocker up. Somebody wants to track your location. You throw a VPN up. It's always a cat and mouse thing. Government's never going to have absolute total full control. They don't even have that now with money. Hence Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all crypto. I mean, they can throw down regulation on it, but it's still United States regulation. You can't stop crypto in itself. So as I'm saying, like any type of aspect where the government might have full control, it's always going to be a cat and mouse type of thing.
Facebook they don't like, you're going to pay the price for it. You're not going to be able to drive where you want, fly where you want, eat what you want. You're going to have no freedom. You're going to own nothing, and you will not be happy, and you won't even be able to resist. If there is a protest somewhere in the city, when you get in your electric car to try and drive there, your electric car will turn off halfway there because that zone has been de-electrified by the matrix, by the AI machine. Yeah, and once all of this happens, it's over for everybody. Soon the robot police will be turning up at your door. You can barely reason with these agents of the matrix now. Police officers have lost their minds to the point where they're going to blindly comply during COVID and beat the shit out of old ladies. We don't talk about it anymore ever, by the way. Every time I meet a police officer, I say, weren't you beating people up for not wearing a mask 2 years ago? And they just kind of laugh it off. Yeah, I guess. Oops. It's just funny now. But there was some of them you could kind of talk to and say, bro, she's an old lady. Stop punching her in the face for her own safety because she doesn't wear a mask. But wait till they're all robotic. And they'll just get the order. Wear the mask or get shot on the spot. It's coming for everybody. And the only chance you have to escape any of this is exceptionalism. Exceptional finance and networking capability. There's no other way about it. And if you're the average person sitting here going, my life's going to be fine, you are in for a very, very rude awakening. The average person's life in the 1950s, the average man could go and work in a factory and come home to a big house and have a wife and kids and 2 cars on the drive from working in a factory. Yeah. Now we have a man and a woman both working full-time jobs with university degrees, can't even pay the bills.
Or have kids.
Or have kids. The average person's life is going off a cliff. The trend is clear. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, it kicks us on that. Fallout. Watching Fallout. Like the government's... Oh, and that wasn't the government either. That wasn't, yeah, don't you know what the government will fall to? Yeah, Vault Tech. That was private corporations taking over now. You gotta watch out for those private corporations.
For pointing it out. So if anybody wants to sit here and disagree with me, that's cope. They're just being an ostrich and hiding their head in the sand and praying for better days. That's their decision. But yes, it's going to be certainly very difficult to become exceptional, which means you don't have time to sit around worrying about how you feel. Isn't it amazing how everything goes full circle? Men don't have time to sit around crying their eyes out and saying how hard it is and dealing with their feelings and being sad and being depressed and doing all this garbage the Matrix tries to tell them to do, because the reason the Matrix tells them to do those things is so they get funneled into the slave force for the life I just laid out before. Instead, you have to wake up and say, this is almost impossible, but I'm going to do it. And you have to get it done.
But what he's saying is that you have to cope with the slave force anyways. So you got to man up and do it either way and just take control of it. He's saying you still got to deal with it, but just no feelings attached so you don't get burnt out, I'm guessing.
As I have, from Luton Council Estate to billionaire to jail to billionaire. Maybe back to jail.
Yeah, it's interesting. On my flight over,
he'll be back to jail.
over here from Dubai, I noticed a lot of South Asians on the flight coming in. And I know you've commented about the situation in Romania, how when you first came here, I think about 8 years ago, there weren't many immigrants, and now the country's changing. Yeah, if you're worried about that here, you yourself have come here. Isn't there a pang of hypocrisy there?
Well, there's a degree of hypocrisy, but I'm going to be hypocritical, and the reason for that is because I'm rich. And rich people are always welcome to go.
Say what you like, yeah.
Well, rich people, the world is elitist. It's the reality. If you're a wealthy person and you come into a country, they have no problem with you because you're wealthy and you're a net benefit to the economy. I also have no problem with Southeast Asians coming here. The actual comment I was making is that when I moved here 8 years ago, absolutely everybody was Romanian. There was no foreigners at all. I was the only foreigner I ever saw. Now there's a lot of foreigners coming from lots of different places. And the point I was making was actually this. I said it's interesting how, because Romania is part of the EU, but it's an Eastern European country, it's now being forced to adhere to EU doctrines in terms of opening their borders and allowing people to come in. I'm saying that's going to inevitably create conflict. It always does. There's going to be different ghettos or different areas or language barriers amongst police and people who are trying to get arrested, so it ends in violence, whatever it's going to be. I'm saying that in Western countries, this was very gradual. It happened across 50, 60 years at the end of World War II and Windrush and all these things. Plus, we had a colonial interest in these countries. You could say to the British population, well, of course, people from Africa or Jamaica are coming here. We went there first. We had a colonial interest. They're also British. They're part of the empire. They're now coming here. Then that mind frame plus a slow process made people accept this. My point was how this will all play out in Romania, a country that has no colonial interests, has never been to these places, has never had an empire, never been anywhere. And it's now happening so suddenly and so quickly and so instantly, not across 40 years. The local population might react violently, and it might be very visceral and clear to see how instantly they get angry. Let's say there was a high-profile rape, for example, against a Romanian woman from a migrant, because they're going to say, well, we don't want those people here. We've never been there. We don't have an empire. We have no interest in them, and they've all turned up in the last 20 minutes. What are we going to do about this? That was my question. It was a social commentary, and it was a question, and it was going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Understood. Now, I don't know if you've done this before, but as we kind of wrap up this part of the interview, are you up for doing 10 quick-fire questions where you just literally give one word or one sentence answers? You want to try it?
Let's do it.
Yeah? Okay. So, first question. Where would you live if you were free to travel anywhere today?
Dubai.
When did The Matrix begin and who?
Interesting. So, hey, if you're free to travel anywhere, you go to Dubai. I heard Dubai's not that great. Oh, Dubai just had that massive hurricane flood too, like crazy, like out of nowhere, freaking winds and water flooding everything.
Who started it?
Fiat currency. Let's let people investigate fiat currency, and they'll get to the bottom of that question.
Briefly, describe a 60-year-old version of Andrew Tate.
25 sons,
25
multiple world
sons.
champions across combat sports, probably still hated by the Matrix, somewhere in one of the stands, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, maybe Philippines, hiding out, big mansion, big muscles.
Worst insult,
60.
biggest compliment.
Worst insult, coward, and the biggest compliment is brave. They must be true. They have to be inverses of each other, right? It would be unprofessional for me to say that the biggest compliment is not an inverse of the biggest insult.
What are the 3 things which appear most frequently in your dreams or nightmares?
That's a very good question. I'm often fighting. That happens a lot. I'm often resisting or fighting or trying to push a door or close something. That happens a lot. I often lucidly dream. I'd say 90% of the time I dream lucidly. So I work out, I'm in a dream halfway through the dream. This happens to me all the time. Something will happen and I'll say, that can't happen. Wait, I'm in a dream. And then I'll say, oh, I'm in a dream now. So this is boring. And I'll just sit down and wait for it to end. That happens a lot. And those are 2, but those are the 2 most.
You're going to love this
That's
one.
interesting.
Fury versus Joshua, Musk versus Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan versus Piers Morgan.
Wow. Okay. So Joshua and Fury, I both have massive respect for. I like them both. You got the Gypsy King and you've got AJ, who I know well. And I can't make a call on it. I just wish them both the best with their careers.
Musk, Zuckerberg?
Has to be Musk, because Zuckerberg is pro-censorship and Musk isn't. And there's nothing more important in the world today than the ability to speak freely. So Musk is literally saving the world.
And Rogan versus Morgan, Piers Morgan.
Oh, that's Joe Rogan all day. I don't actually have anything against Piers. Piers is all right. Piers is a nice-ish guy. He's all right. He refuses to condemn Israel.
Yeah, those are 2 completely different people, though. Joe Rogan and Piers Morgan.
Though, which I find extremely disappointing.
What's worse, being wrong or being irrelevant?
That's interesting.
I think being wrong, because, and I'm going to expand on this, if you're irrelevant globally, but you're right, you're still doing a very important job. There's a whole bunch of men in the world today right now who are irrelevant globally. They don't have names. Nobody knows who they are, like people, like they know who I am, who work a normal job like a garbage man, but they do a very important job. They carry the garbage, which must be done. I have absolute respect for these people. They get up every day. It's hard work. They raise their family. They try and raise their kids. They try and be the man of their house. And they may be irrelevant globally, but they're doing the right thing. And that's more important than
All right.
being well known and wrong, like a lot of these clowns we have in the world today.
This is quickfire, so I'm going to keep going through them. Would you ever get back in the ring following the success of YouTube boxers like Logan and Jake Paul and KSI? And which one would you most prefer to fight? Who would have the best chance against you?
None of them have a chance against me. I have my own fight now, and it's a bigger fight, and it's a legal fight that's going to go on for the next 5 to 6 years, so I'm pretty busy in the fighting sphere.
We touched on this, but again, a brief answer. In the eyes of many young men globally, you're seen as a positive influence. Does this place pressure on you to meet their expectations?
Puts a pressure on me to perform at an optimum level in all ways, but I've always had the pressure to be excellent because my name is Tate, and that's the creed of my last name.
If you could change one thing about your personality, what would you change?
Absolutely nothing. I'm happy with all of me from head to toe. I do not make myself an enemy in any regard. I wouldn't change a thing.
All right, that gives me a chance for a bonus question then. You say you don't have fear, but this is, but is your greatest fear that people will discover this is all an act? You're capable of being much more agreeable, of course, when you're off camera. And is this an act?
I don't think it's an act. Off camera, depending on the subject that's being discussed, I'll say the exact same things. I don't think it's an act at all. I don't have any fears because I understand that God has a plan for me and I'm going to fulfill his plan regardless of what it is. If I die tomorrow, I die tomorrow. I don't see the point in operating from a realm of fear. I actually think also the Matrix has done a fantastic job of proving I'm exactly the man I say I am. They've made a big mistake when they attempted to take me down with all of this garbage because they canceled all of my things online and it just made people think, why are they deleting this guy? Which made people look at my views and realize I'm actually saying a lot of things which are true. And then they realized that failed, so they decided to throw me in jail. And it's kind of interesting. I became globally well known for being the top G, for being the guy who's mentally strong and can do anything. So they throw me in a Romanian dungeon, which of course is pretty much most people's worst nightmare. And on my second or third day in there, I remember looking up to the sky and saying, thank you, God, for giving me this chance to prove I am the man they say I am. If I was still in jail right now, or if I was in jail for 5 years, I would have come out as big and intelligent and capable as a bigger beard, perhaps, but as capable as ever. And I would have come out and still performed. I would have sat down with Lucy from the BBC and ripped her apart just the same. That's who I am. I'm the top G, and they gave me a chance to prove it. So thank you very much, Matrix. None of this is an act. I'm absolutely built different from head to toe.
Well, Andrew, thanks for the time. Always so many questions, never enough time.
Thank you, sir.
Before I left
The
Tate compound, there was time for a few additional questions as we passed a lineup of luxury cars. But as it turns out, these cars don't actually belong to Andrew Tate. Andrew, it's nice to come out here and just have a look at some of these things you've got. Now, when did your love for such fancy cars grow, and what was the reason for it?
Very interesting coincidence. It was in direct correlation with me getting rich. So it all worked out pretty well. Now, I think all men love cars. I don't know why. There's something visceral about driving, which I've always loved.
But I thought the Romanian government had taken a lot of these.
Yeah, they've taken all my car collection. These cars are rented. I don't own any cars.
Ah, right,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't actually own any cars. They're, of course, rented because I, of course, don't own anything.
I know you've touched on this when we sat down and talked, but what's your view on the woke culture?
The woke culture is a culture of losers. They're a culture of people who have no virtues at all. Culture of people who fail.
He's just saying that. Obviously, there's a car. You know, just how standard rich people tactics. They don't own the asset. It's not under their name, right? So it can't be taken from them. If they're sued, it can't be taken from them either. It's just standard rich people tactics.
Permanently. So to make themselves feel better about failing, they want to attack everybody who's above them. Hate never comes from above, it comes from below. They're people who achieve nothing. So when they look at anybody who's achieved anything, they find a reason to hate on them for it. They find a reason to say you're a bad person because of the business you're in, or the things you say, or the car you drive, or your political views, or your marriage views, or your dating life. They're people who've achieved nothing at the bottom, just trying to crab bucket everyone who's more successful than them back down to loserdom.
Has nothing good come out of it, though? I mean, for some people, it's been a kind of balancing or redressing of prejudices and stuff.
No, nothing good has come from woke culture. The woke culture is a death cult. These people just want everybody to sit at home. The only way you can offend nobody is to do nothing and just pray for big government to give them enough bugs to eat so they can sit there and complain on Reddit. They're losers. Objectively, they're losers. They have achieved nothing, and the entire culture is destructive to humanity as a whole.
Harsh, but I know you don't care.
Don't care at all.
Let me ask you, would you ever run for political office?
Well, do I want to get assassinated?
Yeah. I mean, could you run for political office? I don't know, but if you could, would you?
I probably could. If a day ever comes when I run for political office, it won't be quite yet, but I'd like to think I've built a pretty good base so far, so I'd get a pretty large voter turnout. And if I ever became in charge, I would make sure that I did the absolute best for my country and for the people inside of my country.
Kicks is a high value man.
On which issues would you campaign?
Well, I think perhaps in 20 years the issues will be different, but Perhaps not. I think they've always been the same. People want safety and security. They want to make sure their money has value. They want to feed their family, and they want to have a strong border, which is...
Yeah, but then once you get into office, all those things change. Everybody can say that they want to be safety and security, and then you want your money to have more value. But then same thing like with AOC, we don't hear her talk anymore.
Protected to make sure that people who are there are supposed to be there, and they want to live peaceful and happy lives.
In the sit-down interview, we talked about a lot of things, and we talked about your evolution over time and your thoughts and your views. What do you believe your legacy will be?
I think my legacy will be that I always made the brave choice. Life isn't always sometimes about winning or losing. It's about making the choice which was brave. There's plenty of people who charged at the gunfire and got shot and died there on the battlefield, but they were the brave ones. And as the matrix cracks, I've been massively influential in its damage. And as people finally wake up and understand that this was a pivotal point in human history where they stood a chance of actually damaging the matrix and the control mechanisms, they're going to wish they were braver. And I was the brave guy. If I die at the end of it all, then I died. But at least I was the brave one.
Andrew, thank you.
Thanks, friend.
Cool, that was a good interview. That was great. Let's look at this right here. We're going to come back over. And it says, I'll just read it to you guys. Andrew Tate was arrested when local authorities raided his Bucharest compound, and he was held in custody for 3 months. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can actually see it. Oop. Damn. It's so much. There you go. Thank God. Screw it. Slide this over. Really? It's not going to work with me? Okay, this is all I'm going to do. It's taking a little too long. Yeah. So, yeah, he was later released to house arrest. So he was in custody for 3 months. He was later released to house arrest, which was eventually lifted, but restricted his movements to within his country in Romania. So he now has free reign to travel anywhere within the country, but he must check in regularly with authorities and request permission to travel outside Romania. That's when you saw when he was talking with Aiden Ross, and then Aiden Ross kind of like snitched him out and said that he was like traveling somewhere. He's like, wait, you're not supposed to be traveling anymore. In March, a Bucharest court ruled the Tate brothers should be extradited to the UK. Right? When more charges came about, and they're like, yeah, everybody's like, what the hell? These charges came from like a long time ago. Where did these charges come from? So they should be extradited to the UK after police there issued a warrant for their arrest on charges of assault and human trafficking. They've denied any wrongdoing. Andrew Tate is also facing a civil trial for 4 women who accused him of rape and violence and incidents to have happened between 2013 and 15. He maintains his innocence in relation to these allegations. And I like how he jokes with the interviews. He's like, he previously told an interviewer, I'm absolutely sexist and I'm absolutely a misogynist. And they just like run with that shit. They completely run with that, man. So this is all because he's going to be, the court has approved the trial now. So hopefully they get it. Otherwise, that backlash is going to be strong as shit. All right, let's let me see. What are you guys talking about? The age of consent is only 16 in Romania. Oh no, only 16. Don't even check out in any other places. Let me see. I'm checking this real fast. You didn't know the age of consent? Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks, Exile. Yeah, the shorts are coming. I need to do more work. I gotta put some more work in on those shorts, man. I have some good ideas coming up. They're gonna be coming a little bit more frequently now. I still work, still full-time job. They say stay at your full-time job as long as possible. So Obviously, probably gonna do that till I'm at like, God willing, universe willing, like 1,000,000 subs. Dang. Exile's over here listing all the places. He says Austria's at 14. Oh my God. What's going on in the comments section over here? Let's see what you guys think about this next topic that we're gonna talk about. Let me see. Let me backslash it. So we did that. Tate brothers. Let me see. Let me move this over real fast. If I was more professional, this would be seamless. You'll see. This is good because it keeps a record of how bad my streaming quality is until when I like turn when I'm actually really good and have all my shit together. I say give me like in July. It's gonna be really good. In July, just give me to that, and then we'll be set. Got to lowest. And then we're actually gonna have it set up to where I can just do the just chatting too. And I'm gonna switch it to like researching. That's what I want to be able to do. July of next year? No, July this year. Because I got to travel a little bit. I have some other work I got to be doing. And then I'll come back. And in July, it's going to be really professional. Or maybe I should start a new stream. Should I start a new stream? Nah, I probably won't start a new stream. Screw that. But for the people that are coming in, I've changed it now. So now we're on the US fertility rate. Boom. What do you guys think about this? New topic. Am I on Twitch? Yeah. I have a what's it called? Yeah, a Twitch channel. But I was just doing like Axie Infinity this game. I mean I play a lot of games, but that's the only thing I was really doing. I'm gonna get back to it once this starts coasting. Live stream gaming while discussing crazy. Oh, like that'd be hard. Like gaming while doing that'd be really hard. While going over topics. That'd be interesting though for sure. That'd be hard though. I don't know if I could like concentrate appropriately. Destiny does that a lot though. That's Destiny's thing. Yeah, Destiny is all about that. But he'll be streaming for like 5,
Well, the
6
fertility
hours.
rate in the United States has been.
Yeah, he'll be streaming forever. I'm probably gonna do this one, and then I'm going to actually eat because I have not eaten yet. We're gonna get it from 2 different perspectives, real fast, And I'm going to stop this recording. Nobody knows. I definitely should have some like. That's what I'm telling you. It's gonna be definitely better. Mo professional. Because right now I'm struggle streaming like a little bit. But screw it. We're going in. We are going in. We're doing it. And I see a lot of people like stopping by, but they don't stick around. Overpriced pastries. Damn. Pastries. Overpriced pastries. All right, we're getting ready to shoot the next one. Easy work. Nobody loves me like you do. So CNN is saying that all the fertility rates have been dropping. We obviously see, if you look around, there's a lot of single men, a lot of single ladies going around. So nobody knows what's going on. We have seen Roe v. Wade go away. So maybe the restriction and the freedom that you thought you once had is going away, and that's done state by state. But right now, U.S. fertility rates are at a lowest have been in a century. And that is not to say that the policies have had direct correlation with this fact. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
Well, the fertility rate in the United States has been trending downward for decades, and now a new report shows the rate is the lowest in more than a century. According to the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics, between 2022 and 2023, there was a 3% drop in the number of births. That brought the fertility rate just below the previous low from 2020, which was 56 births for every 1,000 women. Then there was another drop in births last year to less than 55 live births for every 1,000 women. Meanwhile, births continued to shift to older mothers, and older groups saw smaller decreases in birth rates.
We are in the midst of a demographic shift. A recent report from the CDC shows U.S. birth rates are at a record low, and at the same time, there are a large number of Americans entering retirement age.
So it's like, it looks like that 3% is not a lot, but then it's just like that compounding change of the 3%, and then the laws that have been enacted. It's like they can see, the policymakers see how that little change right there is going to drastically affect when it's 2030, 2040, 2050. It's 2020 right now. We're in the 2020. We're in the 20s. It's hard to think about it like that because we're all so young. If you're watching this video, you're most likely young. You're not some 80-year-old. I don't know. There might be some 80-year-olds watching the video, but we're in the 20s, the year of the 20s. So when people go back, when you're trying to think about 30 years, 40 years, 50 years into the future, and then you're seeing your birth rates are at a 3% decline, the compounding effects is definitely going to affect the programs you're going to be able to have in the future. It's going to mark some definite changes, and that's why you see the policy is starting to change. The laws are starting to change, especially state by state. You're seeing like Biden say he's going to push back Roe v. Wade again. But births, but anyway, this goes against Wells too, because birth is obviously an issue. Having births, dating, everybody's saying is obviously a big issue. People aren't even going out on dates. It's hard. It's hard to date now. You don't have money to date. So that in terms of the economy is having problems out there. You know, Yeah Cake says she'll fly her Bugatti out there. So the economy is having effects, as well as the laws are having effects. This dating scene is drastically changing now. And so policymakers are seeing all these factors and then making things change accordingly. It's getting crazy out there.
It's being called the silver tsunami. In California specifically, data shows in a few years, people over 60 will outnumber people under 16 for the first time. By 2030, it's estimated that 1/4 of...
Hey guys, just that stat alone is pretty bad. Because Social Security, we have to be able to pay our money into the Social Security. Our money goes directly from our paychecks to give to the older generation and help pay for their Social Security. That program wasn't even supposed to stay around this long, guys. So that's not, I wouldn't expect it. Me, myself, am not expecting Social Security to be around when it's time for me to retire. I think that's going to evaporate by the time we, like the millennials get there. For sure, Gen Alpha, Gen Z are probably not going to have Social Security around, especially if the birth rates continue to decline. Just simple math. A lot of people aren't paying into the pot. That's all it is. People aren't paying into the pot. And then just the way the policies are, that's just how it is.
California's population will be over the age of 60, and the population of adults over the age of 85 is growing.
Yeah, Kick says you need to meet people to have babies. The dating scene is terrible. People don't even want to go out. It's expensive to go on these dates. And then they want you to tip. They want you to tip 20 to 30%. So on top of your expensive dinner, you're paying for gas, you're going out. Now you got to tip, and people can't even buy a house these days. So you can't even buy a house. You're not saving up. It's getting crazy. Inflation has completely scooped out all the money that you would possibly have for dating anyways, right? And then everybody's so niche in their little community. Everybody's staying inside. Internet games are so realistic now. People don't have to go out. Like, I'd rather just game all day. Go out and date. It sounds exhausting.
Even faster. There are challenges and opportunities with this demographic shift. This morning, we welcome Susan DeMora. She is the director of the California Department of Aging. Susan, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good morning.
There's quite a bit to unpack with that data and with those statistics. So first of all, do you feel like there is one solution, or do we even need a solution to this demographic shift?
Yes, we're definitely ushering in a new era in California and nationwide. And our governor and our legislature predicted this. We have a master plan for aging in California.
Before we get to that, answer the question of, do you feel like there is something that needs to change, or do you see it as a problem, in other words?
I see it as an incredible golden opportunity for our state. Today we have 8.5 million Californians who are 60 or older, and they bring lots of opportunities in the workforce as volunteers. Many of them are raising their grandchildren. So it's an...
I would think, like, by the time she said the workforce though, like, they're not trying to work. You should be enjoying your time at that point. Like, nobody's trying to sit there and go to work. If you're bored, yes, but I would say the majority of them, just want to spend time with their family. They're not trying to sit here and go back to work and do stuff that they want to do, have a boss tell them what to do. And they're like, no, listen here, youngin. Listen here. I'm not going to take no shit. Like, they're not trying to sit there and go back and do all the extra shit, man.
Incredible opportunity for our state.
You talked a lot about the opportunities here. One of the things I read is that older homeowners, as they pass away and downsize, we always talk about this housing shortage. What are some other opportunities that you foresee?
When we're looking at a group as large as 8.5 million Californians, there's not one pathway. So it's not one homogenous group where they all have the same needs and the same experiences. When you look at housing, for instance, and our master plan focuses on housing, many people are downsizing, moving into
Yeah, they're downsizing. They have to downsize, especially if you're old. If you're 60, because you're not going to be trying to enter the workforce anymore, and you're going to have a set paycheck that you're going to have in terms of Social Security, and hopefully your investments, your 401k that you have, a pension plan. And then you're going to have to, if you want to actually have more experiences like traveling and all that stuff takes money. That stuff takes income. When inflation starts hitting you and your paycheck's not going to be going up any higher, Social Security did get an increase though. So that was a Biden thing. Some Bidenomics in acts right now. So there was a slight increase, but that damn sure didn't meet inflation. So you still got cut. There was a certain amount that you needed to reach for it. Inflation totally eclipsed that. If you got any type of bonus that you thought you were going to get. So of course they're going to have to decrease their size to just maybe even stay, afloat, maintain the same lifestyle that they had previously before all the money was given out for COVID. Right. So they have to compensate for that stuff. And obviously, guys, if you can, like the live stream as well, and hopefully it'll push it out to more people. That'd be awesome. Let's continue.
Retirement communities, but at the same time, many families are buying larger homes where 2 and 3 generations are living together under the same roof.
What do you see as the challenges when you talk about this demographic shift that we're seeing?
The fastest growing demographic is the 85 plus population, and with advanced age does come higher rates of Alzheimer's and dementia, more medical complexity, and many people
And that stuff is expensive. So it's just the longer they live and the more health problems, it just becomes a more burden on the family. And I think these are also other factors that are coming in and just destroying you're not going to go out and date when your grandma has issues. You're sitting there, you have to help your grandma, or maybe you have to chip in and help with your family so that they can pay for some medical expenses or pay for nursing homes, which are extremely expensive. You're not going to have time to sit there and date and make babies. So of course the fertility rate's going to come down. All these factors go towards you're too stressed. Nowadays, people are too stressed to be sitting there dating, having all this free time. Millennials all have jobs. Everybody has 2-3 jobs trying to just get by, trying to build up, save enough money for a house when the interest rate for a house now is like 7%, something crazy like that. Tell me down in the comments what you think. That's crazy.
Outlive their assets and savings and have affordability crisis later in life.
So let's talk about that master plan. It was first released in 2021, but there was a new report that was just issued in January of this year from your office. Explain some of the highlights and what that report shows.
Sure. The Master Plan for Aging is a 10-year blueprint for our state. It takes us through 2030 when 1 in 4 Californians will be 60 or older. We focus on housing, healthcare, caregiving, equity, and affordability. To date, the governor and the legislature have invested nearly $9.5 billion in programs and services for older adults and their families.
So it's something we are going to be talking about for many, many years to come, for sure.
Many years, many years.
Thank you for being with us.
Okay, so one state's trying to adapt to it, but what, like, exactly? I mean, maybe like they give you stipends if you're trying to buy a house or something. That's what it sounds like. I don't know if that's gonna ease it. California taxes the shit out of you, so they're rerouting that tax money, and hopefully that'll help. But I don't think it's gonna solve that fertility rate issue. Let's go to the next video.
All right, welcome back. A new report shows that U.S. fertility has dropped to the lowest rate this century. 3.5 million children were born last year, which marked a 2% drop from the year prior. Out of all the states and districts with the lowest fertility rates, North Dakota and Washington, D.C. marked the lowest with rates down.
Well, it's crazy that Texas is up. Texas is up 1 to 3%. Look at that. And you have so DC's in the red. Oh, damn. Virginia's down. Arizona, Nevada's down. So these states, so the Northwest states are not doing good. Okay. That's crazy because Texas and Florida are doing fine. The most Republican states there are, and they're doing just great. But is that because of the policies, though? That's the other thing, too. Yeah, that's the thing you got to check out. So tell me what you think in the comments, that correlation.
By 7 to 8%. You take issue with the headline, with sort of the way this is being framed.
Yeah, because fertility typically means that there are some reproductive issues that may be at play here. What is happening is that women are making conscious decisions, one, because of the cost of childcare, also because of student loan debt, also because of the rising cost of housing, to either put off having children until later, which means automatically you'll have fewer, or to not have them at all.
So what you're saying
also has the most single population in the country, so it makes sense that they also wouldn't have
So
children.
what you're saying, it's the Democrats' fault.
You know, I look at that map. Right?
I say it regardless.
I look at that map.
That was pretty telling on him. He said it was the Democrats' fault. She was saying that it's the women's choice. So is he saying that with the Republicans, the women don't have a choice? Because that's not going to be a great politician slogan. They go Republican and the women don't have choice. Is that what he was saying?
I feel like you did it. You thought that was a good one. Pretty good. Nick is really proud of himself. Get a tight shot of Nick. Nick's really proud of himself with that one.
You look at North Dakota, you think it's so cold, you think that they'd be doing it all the time and there'd be a lot more kids there. But I guess there's no women living in North Dakota.
Come on. Elon Musk has been Elon Musk's charge, by the way. He says population collapse due to low birth rates is a much bigger risk to civilization than global warming.
But we're not the only country experiencing it. There are several countries across the globe that are, and again, a lot of it is due to economic issues that people are either feeling or perceiving.
Kids ain't
Kids
cheap.
starting later, too. Younger people are becoming adults later in life now, for lack of a better term.
I think they say that they always do that in terms of fit their narrative, because then they'll say like younger people are aging too fast, but now they're saying younger people are waiting to be adults now or something like that. It's like on both ends, talking out of both sides.
They're adults when they turn 18, but they're doing the grown-up thing of having families later in their lives than they do. I have a daughter in her 30s who's still on my car insurance. So.
You ready to go now?
I had my 3 kids, so I did my part. So yes, let's go ahead.
You contained yourself. All right. Thank you for watching, and make sure you.
Oh yeah, what do you guys think about that? The fertility rates are dropping, United States, and I think that it's because of the environment. It's because of the economics, and as the lady said before, that women have their choice, and they do not feel as though they're ready or can handle that amount of responsibility at this time. The economic pressure is too strong. The dating pool is not that good from what they're saying. And I don't think they're correct. I think it's too hard right now. I think everybody's trying to grind right now just to stay alive, and they're trying to adjust. I think once everybody's adjusted to this new world of inflation, because this is all new. Everything around us is still all new. Inflation's just now cooling off at this point in time. So once everybody's fully adjusted to that, then things will start get back to normal. Then people will be like, okay, now maybe I might have a little bit of savings to actually go out and start dating, and then start a family. The responsible people are going to start coming in. Like, okay, I think that maybe we can get a house, and now maybe we can do this family thing. It's much more reasonable right now. So that's going to take a little period. Probably take another couple of years before that starts to even settle in, before people even start thinking about that. Tell me what you think. Tell me what your thoughts. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Live stream staying up though. I am about to eat though. I have to eat. I haven't eaten. We have another video, but I definitely need to eat. So at this moment in time, you guys got any questiones for me? Before I get off of this, start editing some videos. Editing and eating at the same time. Yeah, Cake says there is a statistic that mixed couples are having better financial situations and larger families. Oh, that's interesting. Mixed couples. That's a pretty specific statistic. Maybe it's because the mixed couples are trying to prove something. That could be. Trying to go against statistics is a good way to channel that motivation to doing something productive. Do I work the internet like a job? You're talking about like YouTube? I'm converting into a job right now. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do right now. That's why I'm being more consistent with the live streaming and actually showing up. Like this is like showing up like to a work right here. But yeah, to your point, Exile, yeah, I'm definitely trying to make this like a full-time job. I would definitely like to have this as a full-time job. I think a lot of people would though. I saw a couple polls that like it was like 25 to 50% of people were trying to become influencers, but it's hard. So I could see a lot of people trying to fall out. It's the same thing, like people trying to become like professional sports players or some type of thing where it requires a dramatic amount of effort. And then when people do it right, it seems like when you're watching them, it's like, oh yeah, that's easy. That's because they've done it so many times. When they're so good at something, it makes it look as though it's easy. Yes, I put in the hours and follow schedule. A firm. Same thing with the website, with blahzayemedia.com. There's an article that comes out. There's an article Monday through Friday, every day. It's good content up there. But that one's for creators and like drone pilots and stuff like that. And people that travel. There's travel stuff on there as well. The world will end once we make a master race. That's an interesting blahzayemedia.com. I don't know if I can type it in here. But I would say like what? The master race? Wouldn't that just be everybody mixed together again? Like how it was. Wasn't that Pangea at the very beginning? And then it was split up. I mean, the races are starting to become ambiguous now anyways. In like modern countries. You know, think like UK. Just give it another like 100 years. Those leaps happen in big amounts of time. Yeah, and it makes sense. We're genetically, like, the mutts are meant to be stronger. That's like if you're trying to interbreed, like say you're like doing royalty, right? And then the royalty is trying to, they're like, oh, we're trying to keep the bloodline pure. You end up like making that bloodline weak as shit because you get all these genetic defects and all that stuff. So the stronger person was supposed to be mixed in with everything from the get-go. Yeah, exactly. It's just how it goes. Exactly. It's good. It's good. Let me see. Let me see. What I should have is like a freaking let's see if this. Dude, that is dude, what is this music? This music is terrible. Yeah, that's what I'm using. I'm using Streamlabs right now. That's all I do is use Streamlabs. I'll stay on here till 7. We'll stay on here till 7. There's some music up. We're chilling now. This is chill stream now. It's the thing that lots of people are getting into. Ancient astronaut theory. Yeah, Streamlabs is where it's at. Exile, do you stream too? I don't need any food. Just stay on the stream. Put in the work. 24-hour stream. Let's go. Hey, thanks, Exile. I hope so. Because if I'm huge, I can bring more value to people. That's the goal, right? Just bring more value. Here's the goal. Keep streaming, stay consistent. Do what you need to do. Yeah, Kicks, I'm already huge. He's huge. Oh, everybody goes with Streamlabs. Yeah, Streamlabs is legit. Why should I give yourself as many chances as possible to blow up? Heck yeah, man. Every ticket, every video that I put in is a ticket, right? So I'm just gonna keep putting in those tickets. But they say going viral is bad though anyway, so I'm not trying to go viral. I'm trying to like get my work ethic set. so that I don't change how I am or how I put out my videos, and I can make sure I stay consistent and not try and chase that high or whatever. Try to build a nice solid base so that I can grow even higher. Because a lot of people, they barely have any type of work ethic or anything, and they post like a couple videos and then one of them pops off. But then since they never had any work ethic to begin with, it's really hard to maintain. So they can launch themselves to get to a certain spot with one piece of content, but then they're going to spend that rest of the time trying to maintain that same launch. They're gonna be like, what kind of fuel mixture did I use to get to that same location that I was at? And it was like, dude, you're supposed to just put in the work. You're supposed to keep those calculations coming. You can't just go off of that one lucky video that you ended up getting. What's PUA? Yeah, I haven't heard of a PUA. Oh, is that big right now? I didn't even think. It's just because I don't think people are really dating right now. So. Are people even dating? The pickup artists, they're using their techniques, their skills to pick up the ladies. No money involved. So Exile, you're out dating, you're out getting all the ladies then? Looks like Exile's the one we should have been interviewing for that last video. He's out there getting all the ladies. Using those pickup techniques. I don't even think like you didn't even need any like pickup techniques, right? As long as if you're the whole thing online. Oh yeah, looks maxing. Yeah, that's on Reddit. Trying to navigate online now, I guess. But is looks maxing just trying to appeal to the vanity in people though? Because if say you get a girl when you're looks maxing and you're trying like extremely hard, is she gonna like you when you're just normal, right? So you're just trying to say you're a gamer and then you do all this looks maxing and stuff, and you're pretty much doing something that you don't really enjoy doing, and then you start dating a chick. You get her because you were looks maxing and going hardcore with stuff that you don't even really like doing. Then once you start to calm down and get comfortable, then she looks at you like you're trash. Because that's not, she's like, you're not the person that I met. Type of deal. I don't have social media. That's good. Stay off of social media. Yeah, they are. I mean, everybody's kind of vain now, though, so it's kind of hard. Always comparing ourselves, especially with men, because then you're always able to compare yourself and then see how well you could be doing. Especially when you, it's even worse because you can see people that are younger than you doing better than you, and you see people that you're like your same age doing better than you, and you're like, oh, I could be doing as good as them, but. I'd say the best approach is to make sure that you are doing better than what you did yesterday, or you are doing better than what you did last month, and then don't like really look at the other people, because if you're looking at it online, it could be fake anyways. They could be just, just using it, trying to fake that stuff for clout, and usually most of the time that stuff's been proven to be fake too. So I definitely wouldn't compare directly either. Makeup and spanks on women when dating. Yeah, it's all lies. Some girls don't do that though, so it goes back and forth. Yeah, cakes can go to Walmart. Sweatpants. Walmart, people in Walmart be looking crazy sometimes. You don't date online? No Facebook, IG? Nothing. Where do you go, Exile? I know, didn't you say you were a passport bro? So you're like out traveling and stuff? Exile's out there going to other countries and stuff. Oh, you're saving. That's good. So he's smart. He's financially responsible. That's good. No, not spending money on all these girls. Don't go to the Philippines. The Philippines is nice though. Not in the Philippines? Why are you guys talking shit on the Philippines? Philippines is where it's at. The Philippines is legit. So what? Either like, if you're talking like Asian countries, probably what? Philippines, Thailand. Ew, the age of consent is 12? My God. What are they doing over there? How's that work anyways? That's crazy. Maybe when you go to the Philippines, just make them show you their ID. Learn Russian or an Asian? Why, you're gonna go to... Oh, it's dangerous over there now, so I highly would recommend not going over there. Highly dangerous right now. Brandon Buchanan. Oh yeah, Cake's all about the South Korea. Looking at the South Koreans. He may need security. All about the South Korea. Well, alright guys, thanks for liking the video. Yeah, Cakes, Exile, thanks for staying. It's good to like see some chat going so I can like go back, check everything out. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We get better and better with each video as I go. I could have gotten a little bit better with the topics because I was kind of slow with transitioning everything. The transitions probably took like a good 10-15 minutes, so I gotta get a little bit faster with that. But I will see you guys in the next one. I have to go eat. Your boy's starving over here. After the gym and everything. Full day. It's already freaking 7. Hey, thanks, Exile. Thank you guys. Peace.